Test. Hello and welcome. Oh, is this one on? Okay. I'm taller than that. All right. Hi, welcome everybody. My name's Adrienne Molenkamp. I'm with the League of Women Voters of Athens County, and we want to welcome you to this candidate forum for the Athens County Commissioner race. We hope this will provide you with information for the upcoming election. The candidates for Athens County Commissioner are Charlie Adkins and John Rose, and we thank both of them for making the time to participate tonight. Before we get started, I just want to do a couple of voting reminders. Please make sure that you have a plan for this November's election. The last day to register to vote or update your information is October 7th. That's coming up shortly. We recommend everybody go online, check and make sure your information's up to date, and fix it if you need to. Early voting starts the next day on October 8th, and then Election Day is November 5th. If you wish to vote by mail, you need to submit a written absentee ballot request form, and we have some of those back on our information table tonight. We are hosting one other candidate forum coming up next Thursday, October 3rd, for the Athens County Treasurer candidates. In addition to those candidate events, we produce a voter guide where candidates provide written answers to questions. That will be up online by the end of the month at vote411.org, and it will be in print in the Athens Messenger and the Athens News in October. The League of Women Voters is dedicated to expanding public awareness about government issues and encouraging active participation in government. We do not support or oppose political candidates or parties. Please visit our website to learn more about what we do and how you can become a member. Our website is athensleagueofwomenvoters.org. Anyone who is at least 16 years old is eligible for membership. And if you appreciate our candidates, events, and voter guides, please consider going online and making a donation to support all of our local work. So now I will turn the event over to tonight's moderator, Tanya Conrath.
Thank you, Adrienne. Good evening to our candidates and to our in-person audience, as well as to those that are watching online. I just want to jump right in and start telling you the procedures for tonight. Tonight's forum will include an opening statement from each candidate, a closing statement from each candidate, and then we'll have a series of questions from the public. And we're going to be starting with questions from each of our media representatives that are here tonight. Thank you for being here. Candidates will have 2 minutes for their opening statement, 2 minutes for their closing statement, and a minute and a half to answer each question. In this forum, there will be no rebuttals. The order for speaking will rotate, and I will indicate who speaks first. The candidates can see our timekeeper right here in front. And she will indicate when the speaker has 30 seconds left, 10 seconds left, and then when their time is up. If a candidate continues to speak after time is up, I'm the mother of 2 boys, and I will say thank you and move on. Candidates have been invited to share their qualifications, their experience, to talk about their plans and proposals. Candidates have been asked to focus on the topics relevant to the stated question, and to avoid personal attacks and raising issues that are outside the office being sought. If they go outside these guidelines, I may stop the forum and remind them of these guidelines. Okay, so our audience, this is a nice turnout. Please take a minute to turn off your cell phones if you have yet to do that. We also ask that you remain quiet during the forum. There's no clapping or cheering until the very end after both of them have given their closing statements. Then you'll be invited to give a round of applause to both candidates. We did receive questions by email prior to tonight's forum, and we'll be also taking questions from the audience. You will notice slips of paper and pencils on your chairs. Those are for you to write out your questions. We ask that you please write legibly. It helps all of us up here ask the question that you actually wanted to have answered. A couple guidelines when you're making questions. Please make sure that the questions are answerable by both candidates, and they have to apply to the issue or qualifications for their particular office. We have some helpers. Can you raise your hands, those that are helping collect questions? When you have a question that you would like to be submitted, just raise your hand with a piece of paper and they'll come around and get it from you. If you need another piece of paper, also put your hand up and our helpers will come and bring you another piece of paper. All questions are reviewed by our league panel, our very esteemed league panel. And just so you know, they're going to remove questions that cannot be answered by both candidates if they are statements rather than questions, and if they are duplicative of another question. We're going to try to get to as many questions as we can, but please know we will not be able to get to all of the questions tonight. We may not have time. Okay. Candidates, are you ready? All right. We're going to begin with our opening statements, and first to go is Charlie. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. I want to thank the League of Women's Voters for having this forum tonight. I appreciate all the folks that come out to listen to John and I, our vision, our thoughts about the future. I want to thank my family. That's personal to me. That's the biggest thing in my life is my family. So I just wanted to recognize my family. I see John's family, so that's cool. They wanted me to tell you kind of what I've done. I've been a resident of the county. I spent 32 years with the Richland Fire Department as a first responder, 30 years at Ohio University as a brick mason. I spent 20 years as a union president of the university, or of the union. 12 years of a public employees retirement system, which was an $80 billion system. I chaired that board 4 out of my 12 years there. So I got experience at that level. Elected commissioners, as most of you know. Commissioners have different jobs that they do, and then they got jobs that we do together. I kind of lead the 911 system, the EMA system, EMS system. Been working on the new facility out on the Plains. It's a $12 billion communication center. It's a state-of-the-art. Our system, the people out there are just excellent, tremendous folks that within our first responder group.
Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. Now, John, 2 minutes.
Hi, my name is John Rose. I've had the pleasure of living in Athens County for 20 years. I'm a father, a small business owner, and a homeowner. I do my best to be a good friend and a good neighbor. I stand up for what's right. I'm not afraid to rock the boat when it needs rocking. For the past 10 years, I've been a paramedic. 6 of those were with Athens County EMS, where the starting pay was $12.50 an hour. We formed a union, and the union and the county commissioners, they fought us tooth and nail for a $2 an hour raise. Athens County EMS is so understaffed that they forced mandatory overtime, meaning that the person who's driving your loved one to the hospital or calculating the correct dose of medications sometimes has been up for 36 hours or more. This is reckless and dangerous. All we have to do to solve this is pay paramedics a living wage. I've met and heard stories of countless people who live here. Let me tell you, life is rough for many of us. I'm running for commissioner because I've seen how Athens County residents are hurting and how they've been left out in the cold. How is Athens County one of the poorest counties in Ohio? Yet cost of living is so high. Our land and property taxes, rent, even gasoline prices are astronomical compared to our neighboring counties. There's a ton of revenue coming in, but where's it all going? Something just doesn't seem to add up. Although I have voted Democratic almost my entire life, I'm running as independent because I do believe in a system that values party loyalty. I don't believe in a system that values party loyalty above all else. I believe that the choice should be for the position who's made best on the content of their character, not on the letter that's next to their name. As a paramedic, I don't ask if someone's a Democrat or Republican before I help them. I just simply help them. I plan to do the same in office. I'm a man of the people, not the party. I receive no money from any political party or corporate donors. This campaign has been totally grassroots, for the people, by the people. Everyone I talk to says the same thing, that we need some change, and I'm excited to be part of that change. Thank you.
Thank you, John. I just wanted to do a sound check. Can everyone in the back hear them when they're using their mics? We're all good? Need to turn them up a little bit. Maybe hold a little closer. We'll do another check. Ooh. Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there it is.
Thank you both for your opening statements. Now we're going to move to the question and answer portion of the forum. And just as a reminder, you'll have a minute and a half to answer each question. And if you need something repeated, a question repeated, please ask me and I'll do that. But we are going to begin with our media representatives. First, we're asking Ariel Teppert from WOUB to ask the first candidate question.
Hello, everyone. I just wanted to start off by saying thank you guys for being here.
We can't hear you.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to start off and say thank you so much for both of you being here and sharing a little bit of what you believe in. I just wanted to ask, so there is a housing crisis in the city of Athens and in Athens County. If elected commissioner, what would you do to help solve the housing crisis for these low-income families?
That's a great question. Thank you. We need to look at this from many different angles. Build affordable, safe housing for people. There are rentals out there that are super expensive, but they're just dilapidated. That's a huge issue. Another one is paying people living wages so that they can afford to buy their own homes, they can afford to remodel homes. We are expecting people to live above their means, and we need to introduce higher paying jobs, more lucrative ways of working here in the county, while also being able to live and work and afford to enjoy this beautiful place that we all get to call home. I'm fortunate enough to be able to own a home that we've had for many, many years, but our mortgage has doubled simply because of land taxes and cost of living and insurance rates and everything else. So we just need everybody to kind of put their heads together, think about it, and make the best choice for all of the county.
Thank you, John. Charlie?
Thank you. Right now, we're in the middle of working with two different groups for housing. One for senior housing in the county that's going to be out in the Plains area, and another low-income group that has showed interest in building some apartments for low income. We here recently, as most of you know, we got a 191-unit facility for low-income, moderate-income folks out on 682 within the city of Athens. I will continue working with the groups that come in to make sure the housing is actually affordable, because sometimes they say affordable housing when it's really not affordable. So I will continue working with different groups, different folks here in the county, different landlords here in the county to create all the housing we can. So thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. And we have another media representative here tonight from the Post. It's Avery St. George.
Okay, can everyone hear me? All right. Obviously, we all know it's election year and voter turnout will be high. What is your plea to voters on why they should care and inform themselves about local races like this one?
Well, as a commissioner, we, the board, do work with different groups. And so I think it's important to make sure that the communication, right now I'm working with an individual that's looking at creating a unit down 50 East where we're going to be building some more facilities down there that will bring jobs into Athens County. Worked with the Albany group out there to extend the sewer project out there, which are looking for industrial park jobs. The airport, OU Airport's out there, so we're looking to connect that road over to the airport. So I've been working with the Port Authority to just build a huge building out on the plains at the Tyson Park to bring in new businesses. So, I will continue working with the different groups and bring in all the jobs that we can bring in.
Thank you. John?
A lot of policies and ideas are made locally. We all hear about, national politics this and state politics that, but we're citizens of Athens County first. So if we can make actual, real, sustainable changes here, it will create more changes up the road. Anything from creating new jobs, but just helping your fellow neighbors out. We've lost that sense of community and that sense of compassion and connection that we used to have. So if we can all get involved in local elections, local politics, the things the meat and potatoes that actually matter here in our county, and then other counties may also pick up where we left off. I am a sociable person. I don't know a stranger. And I like hearing about what people love, but also what people dislike. Because if we can keep an open mind and talk to voters, talk to your neighbors about the issues that have teeth, then we can make a huge difference here. And I feel like that will help everything from state to national.
And the first one we have focuses on villages and townships in Athens County. And it says, how do you think county services can play a bigger role in the villages and townships of Athens County? And John, you'll go first.
In running for this office, I've had an absolute pleasure of being able to speak with people in different villages and townships and cities. And a lot of times they feel alienated. They feel left out in the cold. Their voices aren't being heard for one reason or another. So I feel that the commissioner's office needs to be open, needs to be transparent, needs to have an open door policy and be accessible to these villages and these townships. Ask them what they need, ask them what they want, make that happen. If they don't, then they're doing a disservice. I was talking to a local fire department, and they had some inspections being done down there about their roads, and all the roads that said that needed repaired were not roads that were for the township, but they were roads that were taken care of by the county. These types of issues shouldn't happen. Township should be able to talk to the county and vice versa about just small issues like this, and anything from that to the radio system. I've had a lot of people with concerns of the Marks radio system, which is what connects first responders back to central dispatching. And the towers just don't work sometimes, and it's cost prohibitive. So we just need to have a more open dialogue between the people who live here and the people who are making the decisions.
Thank you, John. Charlie?
Thank you. I'm out in the villages. I'm out in the townships. And I'll give you some examples. Just today, Jacksonville, through the commissioners, just received $750,000 grant money, free money, to work on their village, on the roads, and sewer, whatever, to create a better environment for their people. We got ARPA money, and I'll just give you a couple examples. Coolville received $26,000 from the commissioners. This is straight through us. Village of Bookville, $48,000. York Township, $40,000. Village of Gloucester, $287,000. Trimble, Coolville, Albany's got $1 million for a sewer system to expand, like I said. I've been endorsed, I've been talking. I got the mayor of Coolville, Albany, Jacksonville, Gloucester, Buchtel has all come to me and said, hey, we're endorsing you for this. So I'm out in the community. I'm out with the people. I'm out there with the township trustees. And I'm not an office setter. I do go out and do my job and work with these folks. Thanks.
Thank you, Charlie. Our next question, which this seems appropriate for this forum, is what is the county commissioner job? We would all like to know.
All right. The other thing, what I just told you, that was $2 million in the last year that we give villages and townships in this community through the county commissioners. The county commissioners is in charge of the county budget. We do the budget, we agree or do the budget for the auditor, the treasurer, the sheriff, and so we're kind of like the governor or the mayor, but there's three of us, so sometimes that's difficult because all three of us got different opinions. But one of the things I do, I represent the county at the regional jail. One of our problems is, most people don't know, we're paying $2 million a year to house people. And so, to be honest with you, as chair, I changed how that worked through the county. We used to pay for 70 male beds a day, regardless if we had people in. When I looked at, we had about 50 to 55 in jail. So we was paying thousands and thousands of dollars for beds in the regional jail, and now everything's equal. We pay for the people we have in jail. Once again, the commissioners have a lot of duties, 911, EMS. My opponent talked about the Marks radio. Our towers, we got the best communication ever in this county, but one of them's getting old.
Thank you, Charlie. So again, what is the job of the county commissioner?
So, to kind of piggyback on what Charlie said, in charge of fiscal and fiduciary responsibilities of the county. That could be anything from 911, EMA, all that kind of stuff, to introducing new businesses, helping out folks, encouraging the startup businesses, working with the schools and different organizations to help bring money into the county so that people aren't hurting so much. There's a lot of great work that has been done, but there's a lot of great work that needs to be done. We need fresh ideas, we need new people, we need new perspectives on old situations and new situations. So as long as you have to balance the budget, but there are ways you can spend the money that can benefit everybody. Speaking of the county jail and housing 70 inmates, maybe there's a better way to treat people with addiction or mental health or other issues than putting them in a regional jail. So we could work at spending money to help the actual problems that led people to being incarcerated, as opposed to paying money for beds and meals that maybe they don't need.
Great, thank you, John. The next question, we'll start with John again, and the questioner asks, what can be done about mental health issues in Athens County?
So working as a medic, I've seen people in some of the worst situations. We in the county were fortunate enough to have a mental health crisis team that was set up through Hopewell and a paramedic through Athens County EMS. They did phenomenal work. It was grant funded. So being grant funded, it wasn't funded by us. Recently, last couple of months, the commissioners voted to end that program. There was still a year left into the grant. So the commissioner said, we don't need that money. We don't think that this is necessary. We're going to end the program early. I'm not sure. I just can't believe that that actually happened. I know the practitioners personally. They did phenomenal work. They took the load off of local police, sheriff's department, EMS. They were there to help so that we didn't have to dispatch an ambulance or get, law enforcement involved. We also need more inpatient treatment for the most vulnerable among us here in the county. there's a lot of work that can be done, a lot of the work that needs to be done. These are humans with families and loved ones. We need to treat them as humans and not just as a condition. Thank you.
Thank you. Charlie, same question.
Thank you. It wasn't grant funded. It was paid through the 317 board. And it wasn't, the 317 board and the staff decided with us that the program wasn't working properly. We was not reducing the calls. I got an email here from them people, and more than welcome staff or whoever wants to look at that. So the commissioner didn't kill the program. The program was a 1-year trial basis. Certain things had to happen. In the end, the paramedic of Athens County didn't have a partner, which was supposed to, that was dealt with this mental illness issue, to go out with the paramedic, and they didn't have that person available to go out with the paramedic. So, the bottom line is it was a joint venture, and both parties looked at it. They were supposed to get information. We never did receive the information. To be honest with you, it was a year program. It went on beyond that because our EMS director, he started signing the contract, which absolutely staff does not have the right to sign contracts for the county commissioners. So anyway, the program was killed mutually because it wasn't doing what we agreed it would do.
Thank you. All right. Next question. What can you do to help with people from outlying areas to get access to town and to jobs if they don't currently have personal transportation? I can repeat that. It's about transportation. What can you do to help people from outlying areas to get access to both town and to jobs if they don't currently have transportation?
In the last few years, the commissioners worked very hard and very much with the transportation group. We just actually today voted to accept the new transportation. We've now got transportation going to a couple of the different villages like Albany. We need to increase it for Colville and the Gloucester area. When I talked to the people today that put this all together, them communities has got to come together and say, we want this, we want to help, we need this out in our area. So the commissioners in the last number of years, our transportation actually is, at the end of the year this year, we should have had over 300,000 riders in our meeting today that was spoke to. So we are working with HABCAP, we are working with the health department and a whole group of people. We do have a plan and plan to work with some of the villages like Gloucester, Trimble. It costs money. We've done this without raising taxes. And so it's not the fastest process, but I don't think raising taxes is the thing to do at this point. So we will continue growing the system. Thank you.
Thank you.
Transportation's a huge issue. Living out in Gloucester, I can't tell you how many times I pass people riding bicycles down 13, getting into Athens. The bus stops. Doesn't hit Millfield, doesn't hit Trimble, doesn't hit Gloucester, doesn't go out to Coolville. There's already been a bus that's ran out to Albany. I have been speaking with people from everywhere. This adventure in running for office has just been phenomenal. And one of the huge things that I hear people say is we need transportation. We need reliable transportation. If all of the jobs are centered in Athens and the people in the fringes of the county can't get to Athens to work, we are doing zero service to them. We can build all the jobs we want in Athens proper. But if people can't get there because they can't afford a car before they start working and there's no bus that runs out there, what are we doing? We need to help the people who live in the poorest parts of the county, and transportation's a huge one. It costs around $6,000 a year to own a vehicle. That's an astronomical amount of money in this county. We have a public transit system. HAPCAP is a phenomenal organization. They're doing everything that they can. They just need a little bit of help. And we need to help the people who need it the most. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Okay, next question. What do you see as a commissioner's role in the implementation of our area's solid waste district plan? So what is the commissioner's role in the implementation of our solid waste district plan?
So this has been all over the commissioner meeting minutes, and I've been talking to the fine people. I have the honor of working at Donkey Coffee in Athens a couple mornings a week. Phenomenal place. They are as zero waste as you could possibly get. And I've had awesome conversations with the fellow who comes and picks up the compost, and everything's kind of up in the air. They have pieces of equipment out there that were grant funded, hundreds of thousands of dollars for these pieces of equipment that they can't use because they don't have the people they need to run the equipment. I'm not a solid waste district expert, but I do think that there is a need for it in the area. And again, I think we need to shift our focus not just on Athens proper, but on the communities as well. Because if I want to utilize, the recycling in the county, I have to either load up in the back of my SUV and haul it 5-10 minutes into town and drop it off at a bin, or it just doesn't get done. Same with composting. There's no compost pickup out in Gloucester. So I need to haul it into Athens and make a conscious effort on my own. So if we want to make it accessible to everybody in the county, we need to make it accessible to everybody in the county.
The solid waste district doesn't own any of the machinery or anything like that. The commissioners are responsible under Ohio law to reduce waste, and we're required to reduce by 25% of the solid waste going to the landfill. We support the recycling center. We actually just got our master plan for the solid waste district done a week ago, and so we plan to do everything we can to continue keeping the recycling center in Athens, Ohio. I believe if we don't keep the recycling center, then we're going to lose recycling. We're going to lose composting. Rumpke is not going to compost nothing. The only way we compost, the only way that we recycle, in my opinion, is we got to keep the recycling center and the commissioners, and I personally been talking to the director of that board, and we've created through the commissioners a COG to continue working with the recycling center to keep it in Athens, Ohio.
Thank you, Charlie. Okay, next question. How do you feel about the county's role in the Outdoor Recreation Council of Appalachia, also known as Bailey's Trails System?
I think it's a good thing. I was part of the commissioners when this all created. The executive director come to our meeting and wanted a 3-year agreement for $90,000. We did that for 3 years. We told every meeting that the county is not going to continue funding that system. They had to get on their own. They've received millions of dollars to run that, and Athens County doesn't have the funds to continue building and working. We got bicycle paths. We just paid to get a bridge across from the bike path to Chansey for the kids of Chansey to be able to get across the river without going up the highway. They can go to Athens, the Plains, Nelsonville. We just paid half the 14-mile the county owns bike trail. It takes money. You can do it in taxes. We didn't do it there. And so I will support the Bailey's Trail. It's supposed to be a 20-year project. We're in it about 4 or 5 years. And they have to be able to get on their own like any other government entity. We don't do that for other COGs, and they need to get on their own.
Thank you, Charlie. John?
I think the Bailey's Trail in Orca is phenomenal. They need our support. The Bailey's Trail system it's incredible. If you haven't had a chance to go out there, do it. Even if you're not a mountain biker, just go walk it. It's awesome. I, again, live in Gloucester, so coming in, I pass Chancey Park all the time. When they have events, you see license plates from all over the country. People come here from, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles just to use the Bailey's Trail system. So money can be made from the Bailey's Trail. If we help the village of Chancey to support local businesses, mom and pops, bicycle shops, Airbnbs, affordable like short-term rentals, all sorts of stuff. We could turn Chancey and the Bailey's Trail into this just beacon of hope in the county. And then other small towns and villages might see the same thing. $100,000 or $90,000 or whatever the funding was for something that's as epic as the Bailey's Trail system, it seems reasonable to me, and especially to the community that it sits in. If this was in Athens, I think it would be a whole different conversation. But since it's not in Athens and it's in Chancey, I believe that they are more dismissive of the money being spent.
Thank you, John. You'll have first crack at this next question. And this question says, the Athens City plastic bag ban was overturned. Would you entertain a county-wide plastic ban, which has existed in Ohio for a number of years?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I know that when I go to the Kroger in Trimble, they still have plastic bags. There are other ways to make reusable plastic bags. If you go and order Click List, so you have them pick your groceries for you and you go pick it up, they still use plastic.
Thank you, John.
Thank you. We just give this year $100,000 to Chancey to improve the sewer project for all that stuff out there. I would not support countywide. We don't have a countywide let's see, lost the word there. We don't have a countywide group that can enforce that, so I wouldn't go countywide. I would encourage continue people taking, and I do every time I go to town. I take my bags in with me, and I would continue do that. This costs the people who own these businesses money. If you look now, most of them went back to plastic bags because of the cost, what it was costing them to do business. Code enforcement. We don't have code enforcement to go out and to try to police the county on plastic bags. I hope people will continue to take their own bags throughout the county, and I would encourage that, but I would not mandate, come up with a law that takes that away from people.
Thank you, Charlie. Okay, next question. We often hear talk about bringing in outside investors, bringing in tourists, bringing in new businesses. But how do you envision maintaining local businesses and expanding local businesses, as well as keeping residents here in the county?
Once again, down on 50 East, we got a individual from Athens County that's actually putting in his own sewer project so he can build 7 or 8 new facilities down 50 East right outside of the city of Athens. Once that's completed, the county has agreed to take over the system to actually continue expanding that area. Once again, the Omni Park out there, we hope that people come in with the airport there to bring jobs and bring different groups in there. So I work every day. I take calls to continue helping, supporting, and so that's what I'm doing now, is working with groups to bring them type of jobs into Athens, and I will continue doing that.
Thank you. John, I'm going to reread this question. There's always people talking about bringing in outside investors and outside tourists and outside businesses. How would you maintain our local businesses and expanding our local businesses as well as keeping residents here?
Athens County is unique. We have Ohio University, we have Hockin College, we have Tri-County Career Center. We have people who are smart. They have ideas, they have dreams. And we also have the land bank, where there are buildings, beautiful buildings that need a little bit of help. And then there's grants. So what we need to do is just connect the dots for all of those and bring everything together instead of having all of these separate ideas. If we can find a way to just make them all work, we can help expand local businesses. There are internship programs out there to help local businesses. I run a small business myself out in Gloucester. Every summer I get a couple of interns who are high school and or getting ready to go into college, and they help me out tremendously. Because being a small business owner, there's not a lot of money to be made. It's more of a labor of love at this point than anything else. So if we can connect the dots and help the businesses find the grant funding that they need and the resources that are available in the county, we can expand local businesses, keep local businesses growing, have people create new local businesses that just do amazing, groundbreaking work.
Thank you, John. Okay, next question. Have you considered any other alternatives to solving the failing septic system problem other than doing a sewer expansion project, given the cost to residents?
This again is a huge thing. Whenever I go to speak out to the people who live on, Radford, out 50, folks in New Marshfield are now up on slate. Also, people out in Guysville and Stewart have been talking about the same thing. Septic tanks work when they work. Same way with sewer systems work when they work. Septic tanks have worked great for a long time, as long as you stay on top of inspections and all that kind of stuff. If we can utilize the grant money to inspect septic systems, make sure that they're working properly, replace them, as opposed to spending tens of millions of dollars on sewer systems that communities don't necessarily want or need, and then settle the individual homeowners with $5,000, $10,000, sometimes $15,000 to connect to this sewer system. If they put a sewer out to my house, they're like, hey, John, you got to connect to the sewer system. If not, you're going to have to start paying a bill by, this month. You're going to start paying fines, blah, blah, blah. And then once you tie in, you have to crush and fill your existing septic tank. And oh yeah, by the way, it's going to cost you $10,000 out of your pocket, and you have to use one of our approved vendors. I couldn't do it. I don't have $10,000 just lying around. I don't want to refinance my house to try to get $10,000 to tie into it. I feel like there should have been other options. Should have been more discussion with the people that it's going to impact positively and negatively, and then come to a consensus that works for everybody, as opposed to hey, we're doing this, like it or lump it. This is the way it's going to be.
Thank you. Charlie?
Thank you. The commissioners have public hearings in all these areas, and you're more than welcome to see this. This is what we got over in Millfield, Ohio. It's waste running in the sewer system. This is a picture right behind the senior community center in New Marshfield. You cannot put septic tanks in New Marshfield. When you got a lot the size of this house and you got a leach bed, there's no leach bed, and that's the reason the sewer is going in the drain. When we had our meeting out there, people said, well, when you do the sewer, are you going to clean our ditches? Well, that's not part of the sewer system the township trustees need. If you go out there, you'll smell the sewage, you'll see it in the ditches, you'll see it coming down the drain. We got called in to Guysville, Stewart area. We had a public hearing. There was people that didn't like it. Most of the people, when we got done, did like it. Same thing with New Marshfield. We had about probably 140 people at the meeting. They was biting our ankles. When they was done, 80% of the people wanted us to go forward to look at funding this. There's grant money out there. New Marshfield's about a $9 million project. We got $7 million of that in loans and stuff. And today we just approved 4 projects through the health department to help these people with their septic system.
Thank you, Charlie. Okay, next question. What are your top 2 issues going forward as commissioner? They're kind of the top 2 things that are on your mind that you want to see addressed. And the second part of that is, how would you address each of those?
One thing is we're putting a lot of people in jail. Our jail bill is about $170,000 a month. Over $2 million a year we pay in the regional for housing inmates. So we need to work on some programs to try to get them a little bit more help. The problem is it's the same people over and over and over. They go to rehab, we send them to different places to get help. They're clean for a few months, and here they come back doing the same thing. So getting the cost of the public defender is costing us $500,000 to even to sit there and actually represent these people. I believe we got to we owe them representation because they're going to jail, so we need to continue doing that. That's a big issue. Housing, we talked, and the issue that we got with people living in tents around the city, which is, outside or inside or outside the county, but so we need to look at helping the homeless out there and getting them some decent places, and continue working with these business owners to improve and fix their facilities so they can bring more jobs in Athens County.
Thank you, Charlie. John, your top 2 issues that you want to see addressed, as well as how you would address them.
We need to figure out the cost of living in Athens County. It's getting harder and harder to live here. Things are costing more and more money. And in doing that, introducing new businesses, encouraging the growth of existing businesses, and with that, they can increase wages, which can help people actually afford to live here. We have, again, resources on hand. We have smart people who want to work, who want to help, who want to do great things. We just need to connect all the dots. And the whole reason I started this in the first place is our Athens County EMS system. There are phenomenal people who work there. I'm still friends with the majority of people who work there, who are still there. But we are losing people at a staggering rate. If you can travel an hour up the road to work and make double what you're making now, there's nothing keeping these people here other than a sense of duty, and I can't feed my kids on a sense of duty. If we raise wages for EMS, give them the necessary support that they desperately need, listen to their concerns, anything from we need to purchase bulletproof vests, which never happened, to, hey, we should not mandate people so much. So they went from mandating people for 8 hours to 12 hours a shift. So there are less mandations, but you're working more hours. We need to help the people who help the citizens. We do 12,000 runs a year, give or take. The surrounding counties do about 2,000 or 3,000 runs a year. The system's taxed. It needs help.
Thank you, John. Okay, next question goes to John first. Do you feel that the county commissioners have a role in educating, and this is underlined, do you feel commissioners have a role in educating citizens of the options and consequences of decisions they make, such as the recent parcel fee and likely increased costs that will occur for many area residents? Do you feel that the commissioners have a role in educating citizens of the options and consequences of decisions, such as the recent failure of the parcel fees and likely increased costs that will occur for many area residents?
Yes, I do. I think that they're holding meetings, and they have open commission meeting, but it's on Tuesday morning. I got a job. I still work as a paramedic. I run a small business. I am busy during the working hours, so I can't necessarily make it. And yes, I try to read through the minutes that happen. But if we are making decisions that are going to impact the lives of the people who live here, then we should make every effort to educate these people, our neighbors, our friends, our loved ones. People need to know what's happening in the county. I think that, researching on your own is important, but there's a lot of stuff that goes on that people just don't have time to research and to educate themselves on. So, as an elected official, they're trusting you. They're trusting you to do what's in the best interest, but also you need to be transparent. You need to tell these people, yeah, this is what we're doing. This is my idea. What's your idea? Do you think this is a good idea? And then having an open dialogue with everybody, not just the people who can make it at certain times, at certain days. Email lists, texts, phone calls. When I've been running for commissioner, on all the stuff I've been passing out, it has my personal cell phone number on it. So people can call me and say, hey, John, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? I'm a citizen. I'm a taxpayer. I'm a dad. I'm here. Let's educate everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's the reason the commissioners have public hearings. Every time we look at a sewer project, we have a public hearing. When it comes to the partial fee, we had 3 public hearings, 2 in Athens County, 1 in Hocking County, that people could come to and ask questions or whatever. The problem with the partial fee was it was going to be a fee per partial. You take the apartments I talked about earlier out on 682, it had 191 apartments. They don't recycle out there. That's in the city of Athens. And they would pay 1 partial fee for that facility. And that, to me, was just wrong. And so the partial fee deal, in my opinion, was, and I said that early on, it was dead. People didn't want to pay for every improved partial out there. If you had a home or had a place and you had 4 or 5 partials, you're going to pay that 4 or 5 fees. So Zoom. We have Zoom. Anyone can get on a cell phone. They can Zoom in any of our meetings. We created that right after or during the COVID. And so, get on the county website, look up the meeting with the first Tuesday, Zoom in. You can Zoom in anywhere you want to be. And so we're trying to make sure people do have ability to get there.
Thank you, Charlie. Okay, last question before we move to closing statements. And Charlie, you'll begin. The question says, Appalachian, Ohio is home to the highest suicide rates in the state. As a commissioner, how would you approach this epidemic?
Well, we had about 10 suicides here a month and a half ago. And it was, it's terrible with people with suicides. We have the suicide prevention hotline. Our sheriff department, they blue slip folks every day. They'll blue slip over 300 people to get them to get help. They get to the hospital, and before the sheriff can get back in their car, they're released to go back home. And so, I know the sheriff's office, them guys are work daily trying to get these people help. But you get them to the facility, the hospital, and like I say, before they leave the building, they released them to go back. So, continue supporting the phone system that people can call in, supporting the sheriff's office and the deputies that go out on these things, and continue educating our EMS system to hopefully deal with some of these issues.
Thank you, Charlie. John?
Working as a medic for the county, I can't even begin to explain the devastating consequences of suicide for a whole family, for communities. Bullying is a huge reason that kids they feel isolated, they feel pushed to the brink, they feel hopeless. We need to figure out the bullying issues in the county, not just for kids, but for adults. We're not alone. We're all in this together. We need to bring back that sense of community. The suicide rates, one is way too many. We should not have any. If we all work together and help each other out. Again, back to the mental health crisis team that we had in the county. Who knows the number of people that they saved from going to the hospital, from being released, from being blue-slipped. We don't know those numbers. We don't know how many lives that they've touched, and that is no more. So yes, now we have to dispatch out sheriff and police who are not equipped for mental health crisis. They're not. They're phenomenal human beings, but they are not trained mental health professionals. We had that in the county, and we don't anymore. That's a disservice to everybody. We can do better. We must do better. We will do better. Thank you.
Thank you, John. So that concludes the question portion of the forum. We're going to move to closing statements. And actually, Charlie will go first with the closing statements, and then John. And you'll have 2 minutes for your close.
All right, thank you. Once again, thanks for all of you being here tonight and the organization having this forum. We was able to give our EMS system 11% raise last year. With a bonus of $1,000. We've also created here real recently a system where we will pay for schooling when people go to school and get their paramedic license. We're going to start paying them so much a month, but they have to stay in our system to receive that money. So I'm hoping, and I'll just say it tonight, I hope people support the levy, the renewal levy for the EMS system. They need it. Without it, we can't continue. Their trucks, their vehicles, their training is top of the line. We've made sure of that. The sheriff's office is the same thing, top of the line. Our 911 system, you can't beat it. I listened to a hearing or a tape the other night where a person was shot, and when they called in, our dispatchers worked with this individual to give CPR to try to keep this person alive. My office door is always open. You walk the top of the steps of my office, you'll find my door open. You'll see me out on the street sitting on the bench in front of the courthouse, and people come up and have discussions with me. That's the way I can communicate. You'll find me on the bike path, helping my maintenance guys. You'll see me, and then I get to talk to the visitors and and everyone I've talked to, they say, what a bike path. We travel all over the country, and this bike path is one of the best we ride on. So we work hard, my colleagues work hard.
Thank you, Charlie. All right, John, you'll have 2 minutes for your closing statement.
All righty. The definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. My opponent's reelected. We'll have the same mess that we're in now for 4 more years. It's time for change. I'm ready. I'm ready to listen. I'm ready to work hard, and I'm ready to fight for Athens County. Once I'm elected, I'll work to accomplish the following. 1, find the root causes of why and how the cost of living is so high in one of the poorest counties in Ohio. I'll work to bring costs down and provide total budget transparency. 2, I will attract new businesses and higher paying jobs. 3, encourage and support entrepreneurs and local small businesses. We have a ton of empty buildings, a population full of smart and hardworking people with dreams, and a wealth of grants available to us. All we have to do is, again, connect those dots, and we can make Athens a hub for innovation and growth. 4, support the creation of more recreational activities. Our local youth are isolated, bored, and addicted to screens. We don't have places to hang out anymore. We can offer them excitement and community outside of social media. 5, find ways to curb bullying that takes place in our schools. Again, I witnessed firsthand as a medic the devastating consequences of bullying. 6, pay Athens County EMS personnel a living wage and offer other critically necessary supports for their health and safety. 7, expand Athens public transit to include the outlying communities like we talked about. 8, encourage and support others to run for local offices. Athens needs new ideas and new enthusiasm. And lastly, I will make sure the voices of Athens County residents are heard. I will ask people what they want, what they need, and I'll actually listen to what they have to say, and I will work to make that happen. I will serve the public, not rule over them. My opponent's held this position for over a decade. He's had 12 years to find solutions to the longstanding problems in our community. It is time for a change. Thank you so much.
This is the democratic process. I want to thank, along with all of you, Charlie and John, for participating tonight. We are seeing a decline in people wanting to participate in forums like this, so hats off to you for coming tonight and sharing your views with the public. I also have a couple more people to thank before we close. I want to extend our thanks to the City of Athens Government Channel staff, including Ryan Schwartzoff and Jason Dudas, I think I said that right, for recording the event. You're going to be able to see this and tell your friends on the City of Athens YouTube channel and on its Facebook page. You can also find a recording of this on the League of Women Voters of Athens County Facebook page, and it will be replayed on the government channel, which is channel 1024. And thank you all for submitting so many great questions tonight. We can't do this without you. And as Adrian said in the beginning, please have a voting plan. I can tell you're an engaged citizenry, so you probably do. But keep in mind, you can update your address or register to vote up through October 7th. Early voting starts October 8th, which is you go up to the courthouse in Athens. It's kind of next to the courthouse is the Board of Elections. You can go in there and start voting a month before Election Day, which is November 5th. And that's it. Thank you so much for coming, and have a great evening.